Welcome everybody to another episode of The Filler. We are live today, Thursday, 7 p.m. The world is a weird place right now. The stock market is kind of crazy. And GameStop is making money right now, apparently. GameStop stock is up to like $200. But you know what? 2020 was a show. 2021 is off to a weird start, but we got some amazing people here. Kind of lighten your day, lighten your month. Hopefully we can end January on a good time. But for anybody new here, my name is MARU. This is The Filler. We talk about a whole bunch of stuff here. Social issues, games. We just vibe. And I have an amazing co-host down to my right. Well, if I'm looking at it, it's on my left. Okay. I don't know. I don't know directions. I'm tired, bro. Nogi, take it away. Don't look at me like that.
Yeah, what's going on, y'all? We gotta get the energy back because I was tired last week. You know what I'm saying? Maru was over here dying this week. We're not about to have a relapse of what's going on, so I'm gonna just do the damn thing for the both of us. Maru, take a seat, take a gather.
Okay, cool.
To yourself.
I got my blanket, so I'm gonna just chill.
Sip some tea. You know what I'm saying? I'll take it over from here. Chat, how we feeling? How we doing today? I hope y'all having a good one. Thank you so much for spending time with us and having another wonderful evening here on The Filler. We got some wonderful guests, both of which I've had the liberty of meeting myself, not in person, of course. I haven't had the luxury of doing so, but we've had a couple of conversations, of course, unfortunately, some in certain situations that have not been very pleasing for us, but nonetheless, they're wonderful. So first, we're going to introduce, I don't know how to pronounce her
me?
Internet name. Yes. I didn't want to say it.
It's fine. I had a feeling.
Now, all this prep time, but you didn't think to ask how.
Listen,
Nagi, we're gonna have to let you go.
I've been trying to quit this bitch for years. What are you talking about? I've been trying to get fired forever. Anyway, I want to introduce you guys to Steph. Steph, please let everybody know how to say your name and what you do, everything that you would like to let us know. Introduce yourself. Tell us what you would like to tell us, etc., so that everybody can know who you are and hopefully support you. I better support her because I'm a fan job. And
Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. Hello, everyone from The Filler. My name is Stephanie. I am CEO and founder of Nay Saga.
There we go.
Which is one of UK's leading gaming and entertainment platforms focused on champion. We focus on champion diversity and inclusion. Nay Saga makes up of gaming, comics, anime, TV, and film. I'm also a games consultant, so I work very, very closely with game studios, gaming companies, and brands to make sure that their campaigns and just making sure that their stuff is very diverse and inclusive in anything that they bring out, especially with products. And video games that come out. I'm also a content creator, streamer, and I am a D&I consultant as well. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Now, to elaborate more on what it is that you're capable of. One of the main things that I've always paid attention is your capabilities of how much reach that you have in terms of connecting with everyone in terms of every single platform that I've ever seen you on. So constantly, I see you. Just really deep within the confines of whether it be tech, whether it be a podcast here or a website on that side, you're really deeply rooted into so many different areas. And I just wanted to know, what type of advice would you give to anybody else moving forward in that department? But before we get into that topic, of course, we want to introduce my lovely friend, someone who has been an amazing light in my life, consistently just being nothing but an honor and a pain equally. But lovely nonetheless. Kiwi, please let everybody know who you are, what you're about, how much fire you got. please.
So you can say my name. Okay. So
I'm look bad, bro.
I'm Kiwi. Okay, Kiwi on the sticks, etc. I'm a variety caster. It's really hard to follow up Steph on this front because I am nowhere near as awesome, cool, impactful, etc. However,
please.
I am more than okay with her occupying this lane. I support forever. But I'm a variety caster and I play all types of games. Sometimes there's makeup stuff on my streams. And honestly, at the end of the day, what I'm hoping to gain from this is to kind of move in a direction more of being a spokesperson and representing different companies and things on that front. So I'm making some, headway and stuff. I'm almost 2 years into streaming, and it's been such a huge period of growth and revelation in my life. So I'm glad to be here, and thank you guys for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much for being
Can we
here.
just say Kiwi is absolutely gorgeous? I remember when she followed me and I was like, who is this? I was just like, wow. Immediately went on to Twitch and everything. And I was just so in awe because just her presence, her personality, how different she is. Because sometimes when you're when you go to see streamers and stuff, sometimes it's kind of that generic, it's just the generic streamer. They just do this, do that. But with Kiwi, you can just, her vibe and just, how well she connects with her audience and community really, really just makes you feel very, very welcomed. And yeah, it's just really just nice to just see another Black woman just being herself unapologetically, so big up you, Kiwi.
100%.
Thank you.
And that was actually what I was, it's funny that you said that, because that was one of the main things that I was going to say in terms of that. So you really hit it like nail on the head. So I really don't have to add anything else. So I guess that really concludes our introductions. So of course, Maru, if you want to take it away, you absolutely can, Mr. Sleepy Face over here. Come on, buck up, Bucko. You got this.
I have a naturally droopy face.
You do.
Make Kiwi spill out. Oh my god. But yeah, so we have some, two amazing women on the show, and I just want to hear, kind of their journey, how they got into streaming, how they got into content creation, and basically how they built up their community, and any advice that they can give out to fellow people trying to come into the space and just get to know them. So, Kiwi, if you want to start, so you've been streaming for 2 years, so kind of how did it get started with that? Like, what was your thought process?
Yes. Okay, so I have 3 older brothers. They're all like 10 to 12 years older than me, and I grew up with a really tight-knit family, just watching them play video games. We didn't have cable. A lot of the times we didn't have a lot of other forms of entertainment, so I would just watch them, and my brothers are hilarious. So every time I watched them play video games, it was just like a great time. We were all laughing, we were all talking, and despite our huge age difference, that was the thing to really bring us together. So video games just have a really big place in my heart as far as making people who, even if they're different ages and things, become family over something, some common factor. And I really love that. So I decided to give Twitch a chance after seeing one of my friends have so much fun streaming. And I got my little laptop from Best Buy. I stacked a lamp on top of some shoe boxes. And I was like, you know what, we're going to figure this out. And I think I had like $800 to start with. And I think my laptop was like 600. So I was, I just got whatever I could get to start the journey. And over time, my community has put so much trust and faith in me. And they just have such huge hearts. And even when I don't even believe in myself, they do. So now I'm at the point where I just have so many materials and resources at my disposal that I can put those things into my stream and into my content and cultivate, a higher level of things that I did not imagine I would be able to do before. And so it's just been really nice. I wouldn't have been able to do anything I wanted to do in streaming if not for my community.
I like that because I think one of the biggest things is just starting. You're just doing it, just jumping into it. Because I think a lot of people, and I was, I've been doing content creation for with NOGI for over 5 years. It was in in a group setting, and then it wasn't until last year.
Who the hell told you to tell my age? Nobody don't bring
it in. Shots fired. But yeah, it wasn't until last year, pretty much when the pandemic started with COVID, the lockdowns and everything, that I started doing solo content creation on my own. So I pretty much started in March, and it was one of those things where I was just thinking, I kept wanting to perfect it, so I didn't want to jump into it until everything was perfect. But I wasted so much time in trying to make everything perfect. I should have just jumped in and built it as I kind of went on. I love the fact that you had your shoe boxes, you had your lamp, and you were like, let's get it. We're gonna do this no matter what. So
Yeah.
that's great. And then the fact that you have the community backing you up, because at the end of the day, we can't do anything unless we have those people there in our corner. That's why every time we do something, like if something happens in my stream or in my streaming career, I always make it a fact to say we did this, like we got this, because I didn't do it by myself. If I didn't have those
Right.
people there, I wouldn't be where I am right now. So I love that.
It's true.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Agreed.
To connect on what Kiwi was saying and to bring it back to what Steph was saying, because Steph made the statement of identifying that Kiwi's environment for her stream is the fact that it's incredibly homey, and the fact that Kiwi, you're explaining where that homey feeling came from and where it stems from. I thought that that's something that's incredibly important to identify in terms of what the conversation is actually about, because we brought you guys on here to talk about your communities indefinitely, and I'm pretty sure that anybody who is, because I've been inspired, by both of you actually, numerous
Thank
times.
you.
Of course,
Yeah.
you guys are absolutely killing it, and I know for a fact that when somebody inspires me, naturally, it doesn't have to be with you guys, just off grip, who I am naturally. If somebody inspires me, the first thing I want to do is ask them a ton of goddamn questions. Like, I just want to ask them whatever I can to pick their brain about whatever topic I can identify that we share or that we relate to. Reasons why I'm asking that is because I'm 100% sure that there are many people who constantly ask you guys similar questions about how to build your community. But I want to ask Steph that question and get her feedback first, since Kiwi, you had obviously just expressed how your community came from your background. So Steph, the question is going to go to you, and then Kiwi, of course, you can answer after her. Where you are today, how was it impacted from where you started in terms of your streaming career, in terms of how gaming impacted your life? Like, what would you say is the connection between your past experiences in gaming to it being influenced in what you're doing today?
So for me, I always say to people, don't call me a content creator first, because that's not where I started from. I actually started from doing events offline. So on top of everything else that I do, I'm also somebody who curates events. I'm an events person that, I create gaming tournaments and just gaming experiences, because I always believed in creating my own environment, creating my own escape. Gaming for me is an escape. Mm-hmm. So I also want people to also feel that and feel homely, feel like welcomed, feel like they're not the only people like in gaming. So it'll be 6 years now since I've done started NA Saga and everything. So from where I first started, it was offline. So I'd host Street Fighter tournaments, FIFA, all the stuff that we as people like Black people love doing. And one thing I'd always get when people come to my events is, oh my gosh, there's so many Black people here. I didn't know there were so many Black people that love gaming. I didn't know I felt like I belonged somewhere. A lot of the times, a lot of people don't feel like they belong in gaming because they don't really see people that actually look like them, relate to them, or have the same vibes and, sense of feel. So I've always been a person of, I always say, building a community isn't just online, it's also offline. Now I know in the pandemic and, building a community online is kind of fairly easy, but it's like, what is your community like once the pandemic is over? Are they still going to be rocking with you on online as well as offline? So I wanted to make sure that I built a solid community offline before I transitioned online. And luckily for me, it worked, and I did it strategically because I knew that, of course, gaming is online now. Everyone, gaming's from home and stuff like that. But again, people want to experience that, that togetherness and just being in one space. So I think one thing that's super, super important is to make sure that your community is genuine, it's authentic. They know where you're coming from. When I started over nearly 6 years ago, I had about maybe 20 people come to my events. Over the last couple of years now, over 200-300 people come to my events. And, from there, people are just like, oh, have you been to an NA Saga event? Have you been there? Have you been there? And then from there, I transitioned to doing content creating because, part of my brand is to share information, share experiences. And, especially being from London, there isn't many Black British women in the forefront and leaders of gaming, which is why myself, Jayanne, who is, founder of Black Girl Gamers, wanted to take that step further and obviously do the content creating, do the streaming, because we need that representation online as well as offline. So once I built that solid foundation offline, and then as soon as I transitioned to online, I made sure that, okay, let me get onto YouTube, let me start streaming so people can see, you know, there's actually people like myself doing it. From there, I've seen so many people, you know, start streaming because of, you know, the community that I've built and the safe space that I've built, and just letting them know that you can also do it if you just start, you know. And if they've just seen that one person, it influences them to, you know, do their own stuff. So yeah, I think, again, like I said, it's really important to, you know, hone that community online, but also offline as well. So yeah.
That's an incredible take, personally, from my standpoint, because when I first started streaming, I'm gonna be quite honest with you. When I first started streaming, which of course, thanks fucking Mike, 5 years ago. When I first started streaming 5 years ago, I definitely did it the wrong way. Like, I started off on Twitch. Of course, me, Mike, and Mike had started Little Live Radio. It was three of us, Mike, and myself, of course. I just wanted to reiterate that so it didn't sound like I said his name twice, because I know you'd be liking that nasty motherfucker. So when we first started streaming 5 years ago, like, I 100% definitely, we did it 100% for the wrong reasons. Absolutely. Like, we was in it for the numbers, we was in it for the attention. I mean, granted, we had like genuine nature. We definitely didn't want to like exploit people or anything like that. We didn't ask for handouts. We didn't do anything for money, but we wanted attention. We wanted to be big names in the community that we wanted to grow in. But speaking in that and relating it to what it is that you said, one of the main things that I did not ever consider when I first started was how building the foundation for a community, like what it actually took to lay the bricks properly, so that no matter what transition your channel may or may not go through, the community sticks. So the key things that you spoke about that really stuck out to me was the fact that you started off rather, you know, just constantly jumping right into streaming like most of us have done. You started doing offline events, which is crazy, because when I first was introduced to your name, it was through a couple of hardships. Like, I had known about it, I've seen it, but I never really indulged into the backstory of what it is that you had to offer. And then when I finally did, I started to see everything that you're talking about now. So all of the topics that you had brought up in terms of where you started and how it's impacting you now and what's important to you and how it worked, I think that that's a fantastic idea. I think that that's a fantastic way to express that. And I think that it's important that people take that into consideration, and hopefully it'll give them an idea to do something their way in a unique manner to kind of build something their own. I think that's dope. I think that's incredible. Kiwi.
Thank you.
What you got to say? What's going on? Tell me what you got. Let me know what's up.
So,
all
right. So, I agree wholeheartedly with the kind of in-person interactions and how important those are. Fortunately, before I started streaming, I was already playing Splatoon 2, and I was the captain of my competitive team. So I kind of already had a group of people who were going to be like super supportive and things, and we played in LANs together. And kind of having that in-person presence. I'm much better at that, you guys. Online is hard for me because I'm like, but you can't feel my vibe. Like, I'm just much better in person. And I love like cons and all those things, because I feel like it is easier to kind of convey my message in person than it is on stream. So that's something I'm still figuring out how to do, how to be myself in an environment where sometimes, you know, online can be a little uncomfortable, or you don't know who's watching or what's going on. So it can be difficult to be vulnerable in front of people who you do know, but also people who you have no idea who they are. So, you know, those in-person events have definitely benefited me by far, like the most out of anything. I still have friends that come to my streams that I met at TwitchCon in what year? 2019? Love, Jesus. I can't believe it was that long ago. But yeah, I had a lot of really quality connections that I've made with people in person, as well as through the stream. So I definitely would agree that getting out and doing these events and networking, and honestly, I wish I could have gone to a NASAG event, because the way I'm getting, you know, FOMO, all that, I'm just feeling it, because it's a special feeling to walk into a gaming event and there are lots of Black people there.
Right.
It's to walk into anywhere, honestly, and there
Honestly, yeah.
are happy Black people there. It's like magic.
You immediately feel like
I feel like I'm at home, you know, we
feel
drink,
safe.
like,
I feel
you know, we
safe.
get drunk, we play video games, people network. And on top of
Mhm.
that, women who never felt safe around a lot of men who, because, you know the industry, you know what the industry's like, but the fact
Yes.
that women feel safe being around men, and especially the men being respectful, is something that I pride myself in, and something that really just warms my heart, because everyone is here for gaming, not because you're a man or a woman. You just love the same things. So it's nice. And like you said, like what Kiwi said, that's networking and like going to places like TwitchCon and stuff like that. It just has that kind of genuine feel, and you know, so
Mhm.
Absolutely. Kiwi, you said one of the main things that was important to you in terms of the question, the question at hand, was the fact that you really focused and agreed heavily on offline experiences. And I related to that deeply, because that was one of the main things that I was asking in the beginning of my career. Before I had came back over to Twitch, I was on Mixer, and I already told you that I was, everybody who knows me knows that I was a partner on Twitcher at one point. On Mixer, excuse me. Did I say Twitcher? What the hell was that?
You know what she was talking about.
I was a partner on Mixer at one point. Y'all was just gonna let me rock. Nobody said nothing. I was just y'all are rude, bro.
Let's go toss a coin to our
Y'all was just
Twitcher.
gonna let me
That's all
rock
it
like
was.
that? That's crazy. Yeah. So I was a partner on the Mixer platform, but before I had went over to Mixer, of course I went and I did my research, but I went to shut up. Nobody talking to you. Have fun. I did my
Now
research.
is not the time.
Right, she's bothering me. I did my research, and I went to a bunch of different panels, a bunch of different cons, to try to get as much information on both platforms as I possibly could. And one of the main questions that I had asked when I was asking all of these individuals is, how is it possible for someone like myself who lived in New York at the time? And in New York, just like Steph, you had said that, you know, in the UK there isn't a lot of areas that you have as assets in terms of community, in terms of environmental situations, to where you can truly network. And it's crazy how your situation and Kiwi's description really tie into what it is that I'm talking about, because you are here saying that it's extremely important to build communities offline, because it builds such a stronger connection rather than doing it online. And Kiwi, you're expressing how important it is because it's literally a part of your legacy. And we just expressed that every time we go into your community, it's immediately a home feeling. It's like every time you go to twitch.tv/Kiwi on the sticks, you're immediately getting a hug. You want a hug? Type that into your like, that's what you got to do. You got to Google search that, right?
Yeah.
And it's crazy how important that is, and how locked in and how uniquely intertwining all of those things are. Because like I said, when I was living in New York, there wasn't a lot of areas where I could, you know, there was the only convention in New York was New York City Comic Con, and that was really based off of comic books and anime. At most, it was really more towards the artistic field in that department, but there was nothing gaming related. The only gaming assets that you really had was either some makeshift, like under the mill cookie cutter store, mom and pop shop, way in the hood that you could never find because it was behind this alleyway, or working at GameStop, which is exactly where me and MARU met. And that's a whole nother story within itself.
5 years ago?
5 years? Yes. Damn it. Damn, bro. But right. So the reason why I'm saying all of that is because I truly think that building, when it comes down to building a community, you obviously want to build a strong sense of foundation. And I think the strongest sense of foundation, specifically in this industry, is making sure that whatever it is that you're creating, it has an incredible sense of welcoming nature to it.
Yeah.
And it's and the thing about that, and why it's so easily ill-informed and it's so easily to miss, is because you can't fake that. Like you can't fake a genuine welcoming vibe. You can't.
Well, you know, some people think
Do
that
it
they
well.
can.
And
Some people think that
Mhm.
that they can. And maybe aren't prioritizing how important it is to like put the time in. Like, this is an investment. All of this is an investment. The relationships that we make, at the events that we attend, all these things are investments that you're hoping to grow. And in order to like grow these things, you know, in order to see it blossom at the end, you must water it. You
Right.
must, make sure conditions are right for it. You have to nurture things. It's not something that you can just like, like make it into what you want.
Right.
Yeah, you have to cultivate what you want every single day. And even if you don't see it from one week to the next, you might see it in a year. And you just have to have the faith that you're cultivating something that you'll be proud of in the long run.
Right. Right.
I agree.
I think one of the only things that's difficult with, I think it's unfortunate. I don't think it's difficult. It's unfortunate that somebody, like, we know for a fact that someone very similar to myself will hear the amazing advice that you just gave and think to themselves, yeah, I could do it. And then they start doing it. And then the moment that they don't see progress, they immediately quit. Like, I hate seeing that. It breaks my heart so much because they're like, oh, my flower isn't blossoming. All right, fuck it.
The problem is a lot of people feel like you're gonna get the overnight success, or if you start now, then in 3 months you're gonna be the biggest streamer or content curator or the biggest gaming talent ever. And that's when you can kind of depict who's actually real and who's actually fake, and who's actually in it because they genuinely love what they're doing, and who's actually in it for like a quick fame or like a quick come up. And again, from what I've seen as well, I mean, it's like a blessing and a curse because so many people, especially last year, we've seen the birth of so many new Twitch streamers and everything like that. But, you can kind of see off the bat, especially once you kind of know what the Twitch community like is and like once you kind of know what the Twitch and I guess content creating and gaming industry is like, you can kind of know who's real and who's fake, because now a lot of people are trying to rush to get the 300 subs or to be partnered or to, get as many followers and numbers. And people are so fascinated with the numbers, when they're not focusing on the impact. And I've always been a person of impact over numbers. And that's the thing I will always carry and always tell people, because again, everybody's journey is different. Again, it's taken me 6 years to get to where I am. And I still feel like I know I have a lot more to do, but I'm enjoying the journey because I know this is what I'm passionate about. This is something where I see myself in, this career. Like this year in particular, I'm trying to move full time because I feel like with everything that I've built, the time has come. And I think people just need to also understand that it's not an easy road, especially given the fact that, especially being a Black person in this industry, we don't have it easy, and everyone thinks that, because, Nate Saga as a community is already established, okay, let me just go into there and then I'm going to just pick the resources and then I'm going to blow up overnight. It doesn't work like that, because again, I'm still fighting to make sure you get something as well. Everything that I do, I try to make sure that my people are also eating. So again, a lot of people don't feel like everything is kind of a me when it should be a we situation, because again, we're all we have. So yeah.
I like what you said, Steph, about impact over numbers, because when the new year was coming around,
Steph just dropped some bangers. I'm sorry, bro. She dropped some shit. She just said some shit, bro. See my knees showing, my thighs is out. She just dropped some shit, bro. I'm out
here preaching.
Yeah, my fault.
But yeah, so when the new year came around, everybody was posting all things with like, oh, my goals for this year is to get 1,000 subs and like 5,000 Twitch. Yeah, which is completely fine. If that's what you want to go for, that's totally okay. But I think the goals to go for is you can't control how many subs you get. You can't control how many followers you get. But what you can do is control the type of environment that you make with your community and the type of vibe that you put out and the content that you put out. And I think those are goals to go for, which are more impactful and have nothing to do with numbers at all.
Exactly, because again, it's the engagement, But yeah, no, as you were saying.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but yeah, absolutely, 100%. The engagement is absolutely important. To give insight to everything that they just said in terms of why it's important what they just said, I'm going to let you know the difference between, for some of you out there, let you know the difference between working right and kind of working hard. A lot of people say that you got to work hard in order to get to where you want to go to, which is 100% true. However, some people be working hard in the wrong direction. I was one of those people. Prime example is this particular situation, right? Because MARU, the reason why I looked at the reason why I looked at the cameras because when me and MARU first started streaming, I was constantly the annoying person of the group. We were always arguing. I was always yelling at them, saying like, "We got to do this, and blah, blah, blah." However, I was constantly obsessing over the workload. Right? I had like where my setup was, the wall behind my setup literally from the floor to the ceiling. I tell people this all the time, was covered in notes, literally surrounded the entire thing. Different ideas, different concepts, interviews, things that I wanted to work on, things I wanted to try, things that would come up out of nowhere. It was basically the middle of New York City, right in my bedroom. It was ridiculous. However, I made no progress. I didn't get any. There was no like for my personal stuff. There was no progress with Little Light Radio. We got traction, but that was because it was already established. Any project that I had started from scratch, no matter how much effort I put into it, if I put it out, it did nothing because I didn't make any connections. It was valuable shit. But I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't helping. I wasn't making connections. I wasn't talking to people. I wasn't getting people excited about what it was I was talking. I wasn't promoting my own product. Like I wasn't building literally no friendships, no nothing. I wasn't doing anything. And then when I put the product out, I'm over here getting pissed off, wondering why the fuck was I not doing that? Yeah. Like, so it was 100% on me. But again, it's extremely important when you're talking about what the connections build and what the reasons behind the connections are for. On top of that, the fact that you're doing it for the sake of what we naturally have to deal with as Black creators. Granted, we're not trying to make it about that, but it's 100% true. It's a part of the conversation, even nonetheless. But I agree, absolutely. It was everything that you guys are saying is just spit some shit. I don't even talk.
It's literally about working, like you said. We work hard, but also working smarter. Because when you work smarter, you build the connections, you network. And a lot of people also don't realize the value of your voice and visibility, because your voice and visibility gets you into the places and gets you into the spaces that you want to get into. And, unintentionally, you are a voice of your community. There's people who don't actually want to stream or don't want to actually do the whole gaming and YouTube and Twitch stuff because it's not really for them, but you're representing them. So they're on that journey with you as well. And they want to be able to see that, okay, there's actually out there that I can actually look to or aspire to. So maybe if one day that I do decide to create content, at least there's somebody there who, has done it. And I've been able to be a part of that community because she or he, or they have been able to make that pathway and open the doors for me. So, yeah.
100%. Absolutely. I absolutely agree. One thing that I do have a consistent fun time actually explaining to anybody who's really obsessing over numbers, for anyone who's really asking questions about how to not obsess over numbers, everything that you are paying attention to in terms of your analytics for your channel is just for homework. Like it's not, it's just for homework. Go to your stream, go to your settings, go to your analytics. You look at your most successful stream, go to that VOD, watch that VOD, obsess over that VOD, and then try to see how you can reciprocate the energy and the feel of what you did in that particular VOD, and then do it in different various ways to apply to your creative. Like it's all for homework. It's all
honestly,
literally any analytics, any numeral thing that has to do with your channel is just a ruler to help you guide towards upward traction. Mm-hmm. That's it. No more, no less. But people,
it's basically like watching film of yourself, so you can know like, what does my audience like? Why did my chat move so quickly in this one part of the stream, or whatever? It's more for observing than it is for feeling like you're a failure or a success. It's more like trying to put your essence in a little bottle, and the better you can kind of grab those parts and collect them, the better you can present the entire like masterpiece every time you go live, and things fall into place the better you know yourself as a creator.
Mark my words, Kiwi coming out with a scent. Mark my words.
Whoa.
She coming out with a scent.
Well, okay, so I say this because I used to do a weekly recap of my stream. So I would say how many people got banned, whatever. It'd be like a recap of all these different clips from the stream, how many subs we got, whatever. So I was, as somebody whose feelings are not attached to my numbers, this is exactly how I feel about it. What you just said was because I would just read them like it's science. And it was like, I'm not a good streamer or a bad streamer, but these are the facts and the numbers don't lie. And then
Right.
we would, take it from there and kind of see if we're going in a direction I like or a direction I don't. And then, it is what it is. But I think having your emotions and your self-worth tied to those numbers can be harmful. But if you use it to maybe reanalyze where you need to be, to kind of have that observation of what's going on in your channel, then it can actually be helpful instead of hurting your feelings.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Absolutely. 100%. That's Maru, you set me up. You set me up.
Why?
I see what you did. You set me up because you told me to take over today without telling me that this is probably going to be the most uninteresting that I've ever been in my life in comparison to I'm out here trying my hardest to not be fucking boring. And y'all see
you're doing great. I did want to say though that I appreciate Steph so much because even without ever having met you, I just feel like you made me feel more comfortable existing in this space. And it helps. Of course. I mean, any opportunity I get to tell, Black women and like you are just so smart and inspiring. And I can't imagine myself ever being what you are because you are just killing it. I'm sitting here in the corner like, let me chill with my little glass of wine and play these games. So I do appreciate that you are opening doors for people
Thank
who who maybe don't feel like they are brave enough or strong enough or organized enough or smart enough or whatever to do these things, and encouraging people to take a chance and pursue things that are like bigger than them. I
No,
appreciate that.
honestly, thank you so much. Like I feel so honored because I always felt like obviously my community is very UK based, but once I expanded and it's now kind of crossed overseas and stuff like that. So meeting you and everything is just you inspire me as well, because Twitch I only kind of took more or less seriously last year because I needed to do it for my brand and to expand my community. But then just seeing you and how you operate and just as Black women we have to stick together, and Black people we have to stick together, because in a space where it's just super toxic, as long as we just have each other to keep on going and we're just doing things together, honestly we can be a force. So again, I really appreciate you, and you guys here giving us a voice and just giving us a platform to just talk. Vibe means a lot.
No. Well, first off, thank you for the amazing words. Thank you for giving me and Mara the opportunity of watching the interaction between the two of you, because what I think that it's often expressed that Black women are adored. What it's not often expressed is how shallow that admiration is. Right? Black women are only adored when it's beneficial for people. So to sit here as a Black man and to watch how the two of you interact with each other, being gentle, being kind, being genuine, being professional, being sophisticated, but also being vulnerable at the same time. It's that little interaction between the two of you just now was incredibly educational for people like myself who are openly and often looking for guidelines, tips, tricks, teachings on how to make themselves a better individual. And the reasons why I say that is because I want to thank the two of you and all of the work that the two of you are doing, because that's like outside of the guidelines of what you're doing for your own individual channels and careers. I wish my camera would stop doing what you're doing. Shit! I'm trying and you're fucking with me, and I'm getting mad because I can't stop looking at it. And
Thought it was me. I was like,
it's
wait
super
a minute.
distracting.
It's pissing me off. I'm fucking rage broke out and I'm freaking, bro. It's getting mad, bro. You gonna tell? Damn, I'm being sentimental here. I'm sorry for yelling at your ear. I'm not bad.
It's all right.
Anyway, it's definitely a situation to where I absolutely just want to emphasize like the way that the two of you conduct yourselves, and it's not only something to preach and praise the two of you for constantly expressing, but it's also something to pay attention to for anybody outside who is actually trying to learn you gotta kind of just be observant, because what the two of you do on the timeline on Twitter in your careers, and what so many like you do, is you educate each other, and you educate people like myself, your viewers, your communities, other channels, other influencers, other streamers, how to conduct themselves in a humane manner. You're not teaching people how to kind of navigate through the industry. You're teaching people how to be people. Like, and that's
You know,
something.
made me think of Nagi.
Sure.
That how my journey kind of developed
Mhm.
was a result of losing things I was comfortable with. So I basically got a bunch of things stripped away from me one by one. And then I was feeling like, who am I? So, the game that I played the most stopped doing updates. And so the community is kind of dying down. So I was like, who am I without this game? Then the DMCA strike started happening. I was somebody who used to do song requests all the time. Don't tell nobody. But then that happened, and I was like, oh, who am I without this music playing? Who am I without all these layers of, look, isn't this entertaining? Look, isn't this entertaining? Look, don't you like this? I had to strip everything away and be awkward as hell, just out there in my birthday suit in order to like even function, because I didn't have any other choice. And I kind of had to like start over in the middle of, my journey. And it was really interesting to see that people still wanted to talk or still appreciated me, even though I wasn't playing the music that they have, been listening to on Spotify
Right.
or whatever. So sometimes things aren't going to be smooth. And you're going to have to come to that like stark realization that who you are is going to be out there, and you're not going to be able to cover it up with anything.
It's crazy that you say that, because I'm sorry. Were you finished?
No, go ahead.
It's crazy that you say that, because that's one of the primary questions that everybody asked me when the Mixer situation had happened. Because everybody who knows me knows how I've been passionate about streaming my entire life. Like obviously not my entire life, for the last 5 years. I've been like 100%. My effort has been into streaming for as long as I can remember. I've worked, like, you guys already know my story. Steph, this is the first time that me and you have actually like talked. For the people in chat who don't know me, or who are unaware, I worked numerous jobs, went to night school, and still streamed. I'm talking about 3 to 4 jobs at the same time, still streamed. I managed to at least stream for 5 hours a day, no matter what the situation was. And I did that for years, to the point to where my weekly schedule consisted of about 8 hours of sleep per week. And I just kept doing that constantly, back to back, with absolutely no regard of anything. I didn't care about anything. All I wanted to do was just make content. I did it. I did it for Instagram. I did it for Twitter. I did it for YouTube. I did it. Mike, we did it. There were times when me and Mike was having arguments about content that we had to do the day before or the day coming at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm waking him up out his sleep. Kind of falling off track here, but the reasons why I said what I say in relation to what you were saying, Kiwi, is because the moment that Mixer had shut down, I was live. I was streaming. We were talking about all of that. Yeah, like we were talking about all of this. Is when the heap of the BLM situation had happened. And I didn't even want to stream to play games. I literally went online. I'll never forget the title of the stream either. The title of the stream was "No Games, No Bullshit." That was the title. And I walked on there, and I was going to be online for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And I literally just wanted to talk about Black lives and Black women. That was it. 45 minutes into the conversation, somebody comes up and it's like, yo, Mixer just put up a tweet, and I found out that I lost my job, and I had a couple months to switch everything out. Lost my partnership. Literally, prior to that situation, everything that I had sacrificed and lost to obtain partnership, gone within, like, all of that work completely nullified, completely worthless, nothing, completely out the window, just worthless. And just like you said, I had to ask myself, what am I going to do? Like, is this something that I want to do? This is my shot. Am I going to keep doing this, or am I going to go on and let this all go? And of course, I had to ask myself, who am I without X, Y, and Z? Like, who's Nogi without Nogi? And I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still learning it.
Mhm.
Making a couple strides, making a couple, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting a couple answers here and there. You know what I mean? A couple little niblets going on in my domain, in my little area. But nonetheless, that's definitely a question that I think is very important that you should really try to figure out before, or kind of doing exactly what the two of you have been expressing this entire podcast episode. Building the foundation first before you start. You know what I'm saying? Before you build the house, before you start putting the walls up and so on and so forth, you gotta lay down the foundation. You gotta lay down what sticks, what's gonna last. The most important shit, you gotta make sure that is solid,
Right.
concrete. No matter what
Right.
happens, that never folds. That never folds. Once you get
Something
that,
I'm learning now is, I'm sorry, Nagi. I'm
No,
sorry,
you're good,
Nagi.
you're good.
I'm sorry. Nagi pig. So something that I thought was really useful that I had to think about and kind of come to terms with was trying to figure out, why do I want what I want? Why would I want to be anything? Why would I want a partnership? Why would I want to be sponsored by someone? Just to say that I am? What is the real reason? Why do I want this success in this field? What am I hoping this will add to my channel or to my community or to my life? And a lot of the times I couldn't answer that question. I was like, I don't know, because it's cool, or because somebody will be proud of me. But it goes deeper than that. Understanding why you want to have a close connection with your community for real. Why do you want to be able to make certain moves, or why do you want to make an impact? Because that really kind of helps you understand what you're doing here and how to be more genuine when you're moving, about the streaming world. So really asking yourself, why do I want what I want? And knowing the answer is so important. I'm still working on this.
So important. Oh my
It's
God,
purpose.
so important.
It's all
Yes.
it's all about purpose. I guess when you it's one of those ones we don't have to figure it out now. Enjoy the journey, honestly, enjoy it, because once you do figure out that purpose, like, your life will be so much more different. But I would definitely highly recommend just to enjoy what you're doing now, because you're not, sometimes you're not going to have the answers and everything, but enjoy what you have, embrace, celebrate the small and the big wins, and eventually you'll find your purpose. I knew what my purpose was, but I kept pushing it away because of self-doubt a lot of the times. And, especially when you want to try and go full time with this, there's a hell of a lot of self-doubt. We're not afforded the same opportunities. We don't have the privilege to blow up in a year like our white counterparts and stuff like that. And, it's very, very hard to be visible as a Black person in this space, but I think once you just have that resilience, and once you actually kind of know, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this. And once you start figuring yourself out, you start playing with things. Because again, we also need to kind of embrace failure, because failure is also important. It helps with your journey. It helps with your success. It helps build you. With everything that's gone on with me, like, it's been years of building that tough skin, because there's not a lot of people who have, or who are built to actually be in the space, because you're going to get a lot of rejections. You're going to get a lot of people telling you no. You're going to get, so many things being flown your way that you're probably not prepared for. But as you go on, and as you're embracing and kind of following on your own journey, you then kind of discover, like, okay, this is why I actually want to do this. So when I actually kind of embraced my purpose, and when I kind of said, when, that purpose came, and, I was kind of just born to do this. I was born to help. I was born to people feel safe, make people feel welcomed, but also lead as well. Also kind of put a stamp in, the industry. It was just a thing of just kind of following through with that. And, I'm still making my same mistakes. I'm still doing what I'm doing, but again, it's having that foundation and just remembering the impact you're going to do and bring and provide later on. So don't feel like you have to figure out your purpose or figure out why you want to do this and do that now. Embrace what you have and just enjoy it as well. Because a lot of the times people feel like, yes, it is a job, but don't make it feel like it's a job that you're regretting as well.
Right.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. I think everything that you guys are saying are apps. It's just super key super fundamental and it's super easy, but I think a lot of people kind of tend to have a tendency of making it complicated just because they don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I mean, I personally fall victim to that, so I can't even be mad at anybody for really taking that narrative and kind of, you know, falling down the rabbit hole. But nonetheless, still, it's incredibly important. So the key factors that I'm pulling from everything that you guys are saying right here is tying to knowing exactly who you are and why you're doing what you're doing. It's again, it's not easy. It's not as easy as it sounds, but the answer is very simple. Like it's very simple. And it
don't
again,
overcomplicate things.
Right, like Kiwi said, knowing the answer is so important, and it goes such a long way.
But it can be hard to figure this out because I have this person in my life. I'm sorry if you're in here. I'm sorry, you're about to get dragged. Anyway, I have this person in my life who comes into my stream and says, "Must be nice not to have like a real job," and kind of things along that line. And
your mama.
I'm tough, but I'm sensitive. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sitting here like, hey, I care a lot about this. This is not, you know,
this is a job.
Obviously. Yes.
Please don't let people feel like, oh, because you stream, you're playing video games and you're making YouTube content, that it's not it is a job. It is an actual full-fledged job, and people don't understand that it's also an investment. It is, you are a business, you are a brand, you know, you have to invest all the time to ensure that you're always improving, it's a job. And I feel like people need to kind of, it's the ignorance as well. People feel like, oh, because you game or you're a gamer, that, you know, you're not in the office and stuff like that. But no, you are a walking brand, you are a walking business.
Absolutely. But not every creator, streamer on Twitch feels this way,
which is good. Yes.
But this comment though came from another creator. There's a good group of creators who think we just press live and play games, which if that's the lane that they're in, I have no problem with that. I'm just like constantly having to say, like, I work on this outside of my streams. I'm doing a lot of stuff before I even start go live or, you know, start the stream or press go live or anything. I'm doing so much other work that it offends me. And so sometimes, I mean, less now, but in the beginning that used to like throw me off because I'm like, hey, you know, where is my validation? Where is the respect for what's going on? And you're not going to get respect from everybody, to be honest. Even if there are other creators, sometimes people are just disrespectful. Okay.
Absolutely.
But you can't let that. Yeah.
God, listen, I had creators, men, jealous because I got consoles.
Oh, these men, girl.
So listen, it's the entitlement. You know, like you just, again, you know, we're all human. You know, at the end of it, we're all human, but sometimes you have to let them know what's good. You know, because yes, you have to kind of conduct a somewhat professional aspect to your brand and everything like that. But people need to let people know that you're not the one. You know,
absolutely.
So yeah.
Absolutely.
We all good?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I actually had
you got a question?
Yeah, there was two questions that came up. Sorry, I just lost one of them. I think they were asking what was. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. I literally just had it on my phone. No, you could talk while I find it. I lost it.
One of the main things that I strongly have to really just thank you guys for is being here. I really like. I take a lot of, like I said, I take a lot of time. Just I haven't been on any platforms or any areas or any social media situations because I've just been observing everything and doing exactly what this conversation is about. Kind of laying foundation 6, 7, 8, 9 years later. Don't judge me. I'm sorry I took it so long, but I'm doing it now. But this conversation is extremely important to me because it's so crucial how like so much could have been avoided if I had done what I'm doing now before. So do that. It's hard. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's difficult finding out what you're about, finding out what your quote unquote niche is. Like I invested so.
Is
We all
different though,
we-
and honestly, you might not have the same perspective and appreciation for where you've been had you not experienced what
absolutely.
you have
I'm
already
not
gone.
complaining. I'm
Yeah.
taking punches. My chin is diesel as fuck. The amount of times I've taken it across the chin. My chin is tired, to be quite honest. But nonetheless, everything. I just gotta really just say thank you to the two of you with bringing such a genuine and educational vibe. Constantly bringing in, just your intellect is like the both of you. Your intellect is top tier. And on behalf of the world, I apologize for the sake of man.
Oh,
I'm sorry about men.
Not apologizing for men.
I feel like I have to, man. I feel like listen, I feel like I have to because I was one of them. So as one of them, I gotta be like, yo, like, we be fucking up. So I gotta, now that I'm on the other side, I just gotta apologize and shake my head when I just gotta listen now because I can't say nothing.
If people did more listening, the world would be in a better place.
Every time a
Honestly.
conversation comes up, I'm just like, yes, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah, and I feel like black men in particular, it's a duty to protect black women anyways,
Oh,
you
no.
know. It was just it's unfortunate, but you know how they like to bow down to massa sometimes, but we won't get into that today.
We're not gonna get into that.
So I did find a question.
At the filler. Fuck is
Fact.
huh?
So I found the question. They said, "What's the number one thing you struggle with when creating content, and how do you overcome it?"
You can take this one, Kiwi. I'll go after.
I'm not gonna. Okay, so I come from a film and acting background. I hosted my own community television talk show for 10 years. And I can't necessarily say that I struggle with what to do or, what I'm thinking of or whatever. A lot of times I'm more so trying to figure out how to make things work on the technological side. As a lot of times I'm limited by OBS and Photoshop and other programs I don't know how to use.
Girl, same.
But the struggle is real. Canva has saved my life more times than I can count. But as far as like what's in my brain, I have ideas of things to do all the time. I don't know how receptive people are going to be to them, but sometimes I just want to try stuff and I might be a little bit of an adrenaline junkie. So I don't necessarily struggle with what to do. Should I do it? I'm just like, hell, whatever I can make work on these programs is what I'm going to do. But yeah, that's definitely a little bit prohibitive, not knowing how to work these things, how to do the things I want to do. And sometimes I end up just improvising, making it work, putting my little scraps together. But I like that. I want to do that. So that's where I struggle. I don't want to take some like makeshift thing and present it. I want to do what I want to do. I just don't know how. And I don't like not knowing how to do stuff. So I definitely struggle with that.
I've gotten to the point to where if I can't, because oh God, Mike, you remember Twas? Remember the Twas situation?
You know me, I have the worst memory. I'm old.
So, Captain Twas, I don't mean to interrupt, but we're definitely gonna get back to the conversation. But Captain Twas was a guy who he's done work for Dr. Lupo, he's done work for Tim the Tatman, and I reached out to him and I'm like, yo, when I camera stop, I'm just gonna stop moving. I'm just gonna stop. I feel like it's doing that because my camera, I'm moving.
It's okay. We'll help you out with this. Not what you got, the C920?
No,
I'll message you after this.
This is a Razer Keo. This shit is
we need to turn that autofocus off.
Get this
Okay.
all.
Auto white balance needs to be off. We gonna take care of it.
I got you. But the main reasons why I even know Twas now is because I reached out to him. I'm like, yo, I want to pay for a package. He's like, bro, I don't know if you can afford me. This is the short version. He's like, I don't know if you can afford me. He didn't say it like that. He wasn't being an asshole. He was like, listen, this is my
But basically, yeah.
This is and he was right. I couldn't afford him. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it myself. I ended up teaching myself graphic design and video editing. So the idea of trying to get things to look the way that you want it to look, it's in your head and you're trying to get it out of your head. And if it don't look how it look in my head, I'm not going to be happy. So what I do is if I can't figure out how to do it myself, I'm gonna work extra hard to try to find somebody who I feel can get it done, and then just pay that person to get it done. Because, and that's why like I pay your designers. I never negotiate rates. If you feel like this is what you're worth, I'm not gonna argue with it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
There's no negotiation to be had. This is what you're worth. So
None
I pay.
whatsoever. Do not,
I'm not talking.
you don't post
I
no
came to
art
you.
without credit, nothing.
Right. I came to you. I'm not. No, I'm not doing that. I came to you for a reason. Mike, take it away, sir. What's the next question?
Well, Steph,
Because we were so good
Steph, did
before
you want to
this.
answer that question?
Oh,
or-
Scheisse, you're
About
right.
to
I'm
skip
sorry.
Steph. Damn,
I'm
it's messed up.
Dang, no.
For
The first
me,
and last time he's gonna be in charge.
I'm so
oh,
sorry.
so dead. For me, I feel like I'm a perfectionist. So sometimes I'm very hard on myself. Very, very hard on. I think that's one thing for me. I'm very hard on myself, and it won't go out until I'm super satisfied. And I have an editor that works for me because I'm super busy with other things. So even with her, like, God bless her, but like I'm very, very hard on if it's not how it is in my head and that's not the outcome, I'm not putting it out and stuff. But yeah, I think it's just being a perfectionist, which is, I guess, in a sense good because you're about quality and everything like that. But at the same time, it's like sometimes I'm just so hard on myself. So yeah.
I feel that stuff because there's so many things I want to do, like so many ideas I have, and I'm just like, if it ain't perfect, I'm not doing it. And then I just stay there in my seat, and I keep thinking. I spend all this time thinking about stuff, and then it's all time wasted because I should have just done it. And if it sucked, you know what? Then we learn the lesson and we move on so that the next time it's better. And
I
just
think
keep
what
going.
I
You
think
know-
what would-
oh,
go
sorry.
No, go ahead, keep it going. Go.
Okay.
I'm always talking.
I was gonna say I love to hear this from Steph because a lot of times you are made to feel like you're difficult to work with if you know what you want. And if you're direct and if you have standards, people will try to write you off or tell you, you know what, this is too much. You need to bring yourself down a few notches. And so, although I know that that is something that maybe Steph thinks like it might, get in the way or whatever, I appreciate that you are able to say this and that you are this way because it is proof that you can demand what you deserve. And
Always, yeah.
because you have standards for yourself and what you want to deliver to other people, it's so important to not back down and just accept things that you're given when you are unhappy with them. I feel like as a woman, a Black woman, etc., I feel like a lot of times we're given things and we're kind of told like you should be great at you even, which ain't nobody got time for that. So I love this energy in general.
Those answers were not for gaming related questions, by the way, chat. Those were
Live your life, love yourself. That's the answers was about yourself. Those answers was.
Oh. Camera disconnected. Give me a second.
Oh no.
Give me a sec.
Oh,
interwebs.
this is all
What
your
happened?
fault.
It's always my fault.
It's always your fault.
1 second.
There we go. Oh, hello.
Oh no, it's my other camera.
Multi-cameras.
Yes, set up.
But we can go into
Okay, destroy all humans. 100%.
while Steph is working on that, we can go into the next question. Kiwi can take it away.
Yeah.
So it was, what do you guys do on a daily or weekly basis to build up your community outside of streaming? So I guess like what's your day-to-day stuff besides streaming? Because obviously a lot of people, I think the thought process that a lot of people have, especially when coming into streaming, is that they're gonna go live and then that's it, and they're gonna blow up from that. But there's so much work that you had to do beyond that, and that's kind of why I reduced my streaming schedule, because I used to want to stream like 4 or 5 days a week, and I'm like, no, first of all, I got a wife, I got a full-time job, like ain't nobody got time for all that. But now I reduced it, and I feel like it's more impactful because I have these 3 days of streaming, and then I'm doing so much networking outside and then filming videos and doing other stuff, and that's how you wind up growing on all platforms. But yeah, Kiwi, we want to hear just like kind of what your day-to-day is and your thoughts on that.
I would okay, I'm not gonna say I would never, but I would not likely stream every single day. That's just not, for 10 hours a day, that's not my jam. That would leave me very little time to grow and learn outside of my stream if I spent the literal time streaming. Um, it just would not happen for me because I feel like I want to deliver the best possible thing that I can deliver for a few hours at a time. So I've always had that schedule of 3 times a week, and recently I've been doing like 4 times a week, but it's for 3 hours at a time, and I'm going to do the best that I can do with the hours that I am on stream. When I'm off stream though, it's learning, it's networking, it's plugins, it's studying my damn chat. Whatever makes them laugh, I'm paying attention and I'm trying to figure out what plugin can I do to emphasize this? What program do I need to look up? What do I need to incorporate into my stream to make sure when the people that return to my stream are there, they are having a good time? Why did they have a good time? And I study that and I look up what I can do to recreate this, or, cultivate that type of environment that they like. So it's a lot of watching YouTube videos. I highly suggest watching Nutty. When I first started, I definitely watched a bit of Harris Heller, but there are all types of tutorials and things on what you can do, what you can implement into your stream, things you can learn. And I'm learning how to do all of those things pretty much all day long, y'all. I'm making stuff in Canva. I highly recommend Canva. Audacity, I highly recommend. It's like an audio program that I use a lot.
Audacity and Anchor.
Yes.
You want to get to podcast?
Yes. Yes, that's what I'm saying. But I didn't know about any of this stuff before I started. So it's a lot of me like reading, downloading, figuring out how to work programs. It's just like so much to be done and kind of never ending work because things evolve and other things are made available. Other programs pop up, updates happen, yada, 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 yada. So, just spend that time like learning and utilizing your tools when you're not streaming, and it'll help you.
Agreed.
I like
Yes.
that.
No, agreed. I think for me, again, before the pandemic and everything, it was just offline events, curating them, creating my own spaces, managing it, creating tournaments and just experiences for people to come and get to know NA Saga as the community, get to know people within the NA Saga community, and just get to know other people. But transitioning online and everything, having my own Discord, making sure people feel safe. Luckily for me, I've been able to work with numerous amount of like game studios and brands to consult with them and work with them on title releases. So it's not just for me just creating content and stuff like that. I make sure that I'm working with, for example, Square Enix, or I'm working with Ubisoft to help them with their launch. So I'm actually giving content creators access to games ahead of time for them to stream, do reviews, because they don't, first and foremost, some of them don't have the confidence to do that. They don't have the access, the network. They feel like because their numbers are small, they don't feel like they're able to even reach out to companies like Ubisoft directly. So you can think of me as like the middleman. I try to make that process easier for my community. So whatever you want, I will make sure I'll provide. Being partnered like with Elgato and stuff, I'm able to do things just outside of content creating. So doing workshops, doing digital events, giving people information. Information is one of, if not the most important things anyone can have in this world for you to elevate and for you to, grow as a creator or as an individual. So I try to make sure I'm doing these sort of like, mini workshops, or I'm doing events. Last year I did a thing called Saving for the Next Gen, where, nobody talks about finance and nobody talks about money when it comes to gaming. And everybody knows gaming is expensive, but it's like, it feels like it's a hidden taboo. So I created this, new series where I'm able to talk about gaming and finance, and I was able to partner up with GameSpot to do that. I had people like Afro Sendru, Mighty Keith, Broken Games, Sunpai, Tiana Mercedes, on my panel being content creators and their journey, investing and stuff like that. You know, I had people from GameSpot, I had Barclays Games, you know, just talking about ways that people can invest, save money, how they can prepare for the next gen of, you know, gaming, and, you know, what they can do if people are starting out. So even then, for like this year in particular, I'm going to be working on mini, you know, workshop events, so people are able to have those tools and the information. There's a lot of things I can't say at the moment because embargo and NDAs and stuff, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build more than just outside of content creation, because people don't know where to start from. People just start and it's just like, okay, I'm just starting off vibes, you know, and I'll just go from there, which is fine. But then when people want to be serious and they actually want to step it up, they want to, you know, try and invest in a PC or a gaming laptop or buy a console, they don't know where to go to or have that information, which is why, you know, my platform's here. Or as well as, you know, doing reviews or streaming, you know, early access to games. Again, they can't reach out to these companies, which is why we're here. God willing, this year, I will start my own games agency. So, you know, I have like a pool and a talent of, you know, British gamers and content creators who are able to actually provide. You know, luckily I was actually able to have content creators paid last year for them to, you know, stream games and to, you know, be a part of their campaign and stuff like that. So once that's established, I'm able to, you know, go overseas and stuff like that. So, you know, with me, beyond content creation, it's just also listening to your community, asking them what they want, you know, connecting with them and, you know, having conversations with them, being the bro, being like the big auntie or the, you know, the big sister, because they look to you. So, yeah.
I'm sorry. This like that who asked that question? Who asked that question? I'm stuttering. Who asked that question?
Oh, sorry.
Who's I talking to?
Frostman on Twitter.
Frostman on Twitter definitely asked a phenomenal question, which relayed.
Shout out to Frostman.
Shout out to Frostman, because from the description, I mean, granted, both of you gave phenomenal information. But the sum up that I got from it, from just a miss of everything, was obviously like vibes and effort go hand in hand. Like with Steph, she said that a lot of people kind of start things based off of vibes, and what I got from that was that's exactly how I started. I kind of liked it, and I thought it was
which is fine, you know.
Right. Like I started,
which
but
is
then
actually fine.
But the reasons why effort like really is important and why it has a lot to do, like a lot of the things that are generated questions when it comes down to the industry really have a lot of regular impact in terms of simple things in your life. Like you can do things just for the sake that it feels good, but in order to continuously do it to where it's a healthy manner, you still have to put in effort.
Okay, all right. Listen now, Nogi. Okay, I want to touch on this Music Juice comment in the chat, because not you dragging yourself is exactly what I'm feeling too. You are not, you know, to be talking down on yourself for your personal journey. It be like that. We all are, you know, having our different roads to travel, and they're not always smooth. Sometimes we don't know what the hell is happening until it's already happening. And that's perfectly fine too. What matters is that you learn and kind of recognize and acknowledge. Yes, you need to be adaptable in this industry. And if you are paying attention to what's going on, and you can make those changes, and that's what's important. But you're saying everything like it's so fucking terrible. Like you made some egregious, you know, violation mistake. It is just what your journey looks like. And
I'm sorry, I immediately got like, I thought I was in trouble. I was like, oh God, what
you are in trouble, because you're not about to talk about yourself and your journey this way. We will not allow it.
Yes, ma'am.
It's simply what happened, and
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
learning and you're growing and you're adapting to being on a totally different platform when you were booted off the one where you were like kind of making moves on it.
You're just as important, you're just as valuable in this space. What you are doing, continue doing it, because there are people who are looking to you. So never forget that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Allow yourself the room to breathe and grow as you go, and have faith in the process. Being hard on yourself ain't gonna help you.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? It's only gonna make you feel worse about
Why
shit
am I
you
hot?
can't control.
Why am I hot? Why am I sweating? Why am I hot?
Because we tired, goddamn.
I ain't got any fucking trouble. I didn't do Music got me in trouble. Why am I hot, bro? What did I do? Damn, I forgot what I was saying. Okay. The importance of vibes and effort is that's incredibly important. Like you can do things for the sake of vibes, but if you still got to put in effort in order to perfect what it is that you're practicing. And that relates to what you were saying, Mike, about you saying that, you want to do something, but since you're a perfectionist, if it's not coming out perfect, then you don't want to do it. And I was like that. And I know that everybody is different. And the way that I kind of managed to do it in my own way is because I would start it, but I wouldn't stop doing it until it got to where I wanted it to be. Like if it came out trash, the first time, if it came out trash, I ain't fuck with it, but I wasn't going like, I'm not letting it go until it's perfect. Like I'll obsess over it. However, I kind of adopted this narrative of being incredibly strict and focused on the destination, but the route to get there, I became a lot more open-minded about. As long as we get from point A to point B, I don't care how we get there, as long as we get there, and as long as we get there on time. Like that's all I care about.
Right.
But that's kind of how I adopted that narrative. The next thing that I wanted to elaborate on in terms of everything that we talked about today was the fact that we really highlighted the topic of foundation stability, like making sure that everything that is supposed to be done in the beginning is done properly. It's taking time to do it. Relating to Kiwi with her reference and her metaphor of tending to the garden. You can plant, you can do everything that you need to do, but you still got to water it. You still got to take care of your garden. You still got to take out your crabgrass. You got to take out the weeds. You got to do everything that you got to do in order for that to grow. The next thing that I wanted to connect on was the fact that we talked about emotional clarity. Being able to know who you are at the beginning of this industry, at the beginning of your journey in this industry, being able to identify who you are in case any of these things fall short, because you are more than likely guaranteed progress. You're not guaranteed full frontal success as everybody else, but you're guaranteed progress if you put in the work to gain that progress. However, if something falls through, you still got to know who you are in order to stay grounded so that you could not fall deep into a darkness like everybody else does when it comes down to possibly losing everything that you worked so hard for in the first place. Last but not least, what Q said, on top of what Steph said, is listening to your community. Honestly, I feel like treating your community like an individual person, like one singular person with multiple personalities, is a great way to like state that. Because if I treat my chat as one person, like the way you just explained it, I treat that person with respect, love them, take care of them, learn them, learn their ins, their outs, their likes, their dislikes, what they vibe with, what they don't vibe with, what makes them laugh, what makes them cry, what makes them happy, what makes them tick. Figuring out what makes them tick will ultimately make sure that they're sticking with you to the end. And it's a beautiful thing to see. So again, like connected with everything that you guys are speaking about, I think we really hit some important topics right on the head. I'm appreciative, making me feel.
I just want to say that
sweating,
it is it's not, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know everything coming into this, especially if it's, kind of new territory for you. It's okay to discover yourself along the way, because sometimes you can't see who you are just on your own. You do have to have these interactions, and you do have to be in the situation to learn more about yourself, and to be comfortable with yourself sometimes. I found like my community has been much more welcoming to me since I just stopped worrying. And I was like, you know what? I like to burst into song. I like to twerk off beat. I like yada yada. And if they don't like it, then what we gonna do?
I like
nothing. I'm gonna keep doing it. So yes, I enjoy a twerker too. So the more I'm able to kind of be who I am genuinely, the easier it is to deliver my content, because I'm really just existing and kind of putting my spin on things, and whoever likes it is who's gonna stick around. And that's what you want. You want those people to stick around and know who you genuinely are. That way those connections will be valid.
Yeah, people are coming for you at the end of the day. Just keep it real. People are coming for you. People are
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
I asked my chat that one day. Why y'all watch my stream? You guys ask your chat why they watch your stream, because they'll tell you the truth. They will tell you.
I'm gonna
You
get
know
one
what?
answer.
I'm here for the titties. Whatever the answer is, just ask them, why do you watch my stream? Is it because you like the game I play? Is it because you think I'm funny? Is it because you think I suck at games and you like to watch someone suck at games? Whatever the answer is, knowing those types of things, just like how you would ask, like, you know, those questions on job applications where they're like, what would your friends describe you as? And those are always hard questions for me because I'm like, I don't know. The tall one? I don't know. I don't know. You know, day to day that can change.
I'm always the
You
loud
say
one.
you were the loud one?
I'm always the loud one.
Yeah, but what does that
Loud, violent,
mean?
wild. I don't know. I'm a bore.
You
I don't know.
rambunctious?
Right. Like I'm energetic. I'm a firecracker. What are you telling me?
Okay. Okay, but we like those. But it does help to just ask people in general what they think about you and who you are as a person, and not just like, you know, any fucking random stranger, but it helps to know how people receive what you're trying to give, because sometimes, you know, it can help you kind of hone that down and channel into something more accurate if you're not getting your message across as well.
Got you. I respect that. That's a good way to put it. Mike, you got anything to add?
No, that was pretty much it for the questions we had. We definitely did the wrap up, and we'll have one last question that I thought of right now, and we'll do the feedback, little recognition out, and if you guys want to start thinking about who you guys want to rate.
Got a section for you right here, Mike. Don't worry, bro.
Awesome. But yeah, we'll go around, give out some recognition to anybody in our personal lives or in the community. And one last question. My shout out this week is going to be for Kareem Cheese. He's killing it right now on TikTok with his anime reactions. I can't watch the videos because he's watching Attack on Titan right now, and I'm trying to avoid spoilers, so I haven't seen anything, but I know his content's always good. So shout out to him. Super genuine dude. He puts in the work, and the community that he has is one of the best I've seen. Supports him wherever he goes. So shout out to him. But yeah, we'll go around. One shout out. And the last question I have for you guys is if you can give one piece of advice to somebody who's coming into streaming or trying to build a community, what would that one piece of advice be? So, Kiwi, we'll start with you.
Yay. Can I give a shout out too?
Yeah, you could all give shout outs.
Okay.
As many as you want. I mean, not as many though, because we people gotta go to sleep. And
as many as you want.
I'll keep it concise.
Tell them what you can't have.
I would love to show my appreciation for someone who's in the chat right now. Easy Magic. Easy. Okay, I'm not gonna cry. But Easy was somebody who gave me a chance when I first started streaming, and moderated for me, and you know, just was so supportive and made sure I knew that I had somebody in my corner in the super early days when I didn't even know really anyone here.
His reaction.
We have this like brother and sister type of relationship. Sorry, I'm literally trying not to cry, but it's just gonna happen.
Take your time.
But I just love Easy because I didn't expect someone to give a shit about me so early on. And he was one of the first people who did. And it meant a lot to me to have his support, even when I didn't really believe in myself or have any real, you know, future that I knew of on this platform. And he's kind of been there with me since whatever fucking day 2 when I met him. So I'm really grateful for that. And I love Easy so much. And thank you for making me feel comfortable and allowing me to have my own space. I literally cry so much. I think it's because quarantine has turned me into a little bitch, and now I just cry all the time. But I mean it, and I love you, and I love everybody in my community, but Easy really has given me a chance. I'm sorry. He's like, shut up. I said, hurry up. We gotta go.
Shout out to Easy.
Yeah, I love Easy. Clearly. And then what was the other question? I done cried my thoughts out of my head.
Yeah, just one piece of advice you would give to somebody either coming into streaming or looking to build a community.
Oh, okay. My advice would be to have faith no matter what's going on. Sometimes things look a little bleak. Sometimes you don't feel good. Sometimes things happen in life and you can't control those things. But if you have faith that you're going to get where you want to be, even when it doesn't look like it, that'll kind of help you get through those kind of days where it just feels like everything is frozen around you, and you're not going to get out of it. So that faith is really important, but also to make sure you surround yourself with people who care about you for real. People who care about you will really lift you up when you don't have even the energy in yourself to do so. And that's really important. So form those genuine connections, and keep having faith in yourself in the process.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Nagi?
Oh, it's me now?
Yeah.
Shout out.
What is going on with my camera?
Oh no.
Give me a second.
I'm gonna we got it. I'm gonna wait for it.
No, go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah. I'll swear out.
I would have to say that my shout out is going to myself.
Yes, pick up yourself, King.
I'm shouting myself out because honestly, the last couple of weeks I've been doing a lot of self-reflection. I'm pretty sure that a lot of you have seen my tweet. Not to make anything personal because that's not what we're here for, but I'm gonna give myself the recognition because my circumstances are definitely like I've trying to find the right words to say. I want to announce myself as my shout out because these last couple of weeks I have literally seen people who have made choices in their lives that I have had opportunities to make, and I have literally watched them make the choice that I could have made, and I have seen the outcome of that choice. And I'm not actually happy with what I almost became. That's basically the point of what it is I'm trying to say. I have been visibly seeing what I could have potentially become in my life in multiple people, and I gotta kind of give myself credit for not becoming that person, for not becoming vengeful, for not becoming hateful, for not becoming malice, for not becoming, any seven deadly sin or whatever the fuck the case may be. But I've been writing like all of my notes. I have like 3 pages of notes from this particular podcast because I write down my notes of my thoughts from my therapist. So with that being said, Cameron, I'm gonna kill you. My advice for anyone who is coming to streaming and want to build a community and want to do anything in regards to that, my advice would be to stop giving a damn about the channel first. I feel like anybody who's super passionate about streaming, they make the same mistake of being overly passionate about the channel first without figuring out all of the things that we talked about. And that's one of the main reasons why I made myself a shout out, because I'm taking the time to learn what I could have learned years prior. And even though I'm still teaching myself, Kiwi, don't yell at me again. I have feelings. Even though I'm teaching, even though it's okay and I'm more receptive now because of what I experienced, it's never a situation where it's too late. That has to be my advice. Take care of your mental structure before you actually attempt anything that you're passionate about, to be quite honest, because it takes a lot of love for you to achieve dreams. And I'm starting to realize that I don't think that anybody is incapable of achieving dreams. I just think that there are a lot of people who don't have enough love to pursue it the proper way, which really results in them quitting, because that lack of love means lack of faith, lack of hope, all of that is a part of the process. So I would have to say, in order to succeed in anything that you're doing, whether it be streaming, whether it be any dream, school, college, whatever the fucking case may be, just like Steph said, you have to love the progress. You have to love the process. You have to love the work. You have to love the entirety of it. You can't just love the ending, the outcome, the conclusion. You have to love the beginning, the scars, the ends, the fights, the battles, the wins, the losses. You gotta love all that shit. You gotta be excited. It has to be a drug to you. Otherwise, you're not gonna make it. It's not gonna be a part of you. And I think that's it. I think that would have to just naturally be my advice, because if you follow that, then anything that you pursue is gonna fucking fall in your lap. To be quite honest, like it's gonna fall in your lap. Whatever it is that you're happy about, whatever it is that you love. As soon as I started loving more,
things started coming together.
I don't need much. I don't need much. Just like Kiwi said. Once you find out the answer, not even the answer. Once you find out the problem, just figure out the problem.
True.
You got this.
The answer is super easy. You just got to do it. But once you fit the problem, figuring out the problem is difficult. But that's my advice. Love yourself in the highest, just the highest magnitude, celestial love. Like you got to go deity.
Word.
You got to treat yourself like you got to treat yourself like you're a fucking planet. Like everything revolves around you, bro. Like you have to. However, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna end it there. Understand that understanding is important. A lot of the times, I see a lot of people making arguments, and it's really not a situation. Most of the time, when I'm fussing with someone, I'm not telling you that you're wrong. I just want you to understand that I'm not. Like that's really what it is. That's really and that's it. That's really, love yourself to a celestial level and enjoy the ride. That's it.
For real.
Steph?
For me, so I want to give 2 shouts. They're actually in the chat as well. And because it's UK time, because it's nearly 2 a.m. here. So I want to shout them out for actually staying up. Dorsha, aka the Creative Blurred, first and foremost, because she just started creating content properly last year. And honestly, guys, check her out on YouTube. She is amazing. Like the quality of her YouTube videos, you know, you can just tell that this is her. When you're, especially as a brand, people can see who you are and they normally stand out, you know, because of like your aesthetics, how you brand yourself, all that good stuff. And, you know, yeah, you know, it hasn't been long for her, but she has so much potential. And being a community leader and, you know, always watching who's here and who's got potential and who's, you know, she is definitely somebody who is one to watch. And some of the opportunities I've given to her, like she's never let me down. And I just feel really honored to just kind of watch her journey. So really, like, honestly, shout out to her. Second and foremost, I want to shout out to Geeky Cassie. Lovely girl. And she has been an absolute great support system. You know, we obviously met through the industry and stuff like that. And, you know, she's somebody that will fight your corner. And she's just a very genuine person, and she's a very hard worker as well. And again, she's from London, so 2 a.m. out there. Shout out to my London crew. But again, somebody who, you know, if you're looking for somebody who's trying to always do better and like just be a better person and just create a genuine environment, like that's Geeky Cassie for you. So, you know, shout out to her. And one advice that I give, I always say, always think about your impact over the numbers. As I'm always going to say, because once you know your purpose, once you know who you are, once you know what you actually want to deliver, what your service is in this industry, everything will come, you know, everything will come to you. And take breaks as well. Don't overwork. Like I'm a big hypocrite on myself as well, because I'm a super workaholic. I'd go to bed at like 4 or 5 a.m. because I'm constantly working. And sometimes it's not even just about streaming or content creating. It's actually just making sure my community is all right. It's talking to brands. It's, you know, making sure things are in check, because half of the time, or not even half of the time, 70% of the time, I'm busy working on opening doors for my people. And I always make sure I prioritize Black people. Like, it's point blank period. My community is obviously open to all, Black, white, whatever, but I always make sure I prioritize my people first, because we don't get the opportunities. So, you know, my thing is always about just take breaks. You know, if you can't do something, it's okay. And just making sure that you're, you know, self-care is super, super important. When I was super ill, just after my holiday, I was ready to go back as soon as I recovered. But I said, you know what? You owe it to yourself to just relax, because your community understands and your audience understands, and just give yourself time to recoup, because it's okay to just have me time. So yeah, impact over numbers and self-care.
Love it.
Man.
Thank you guys both for coming on to the show. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you for having us.
Of course.
Thank you.
Does
Definitely
Easy stream?
He should.
He should. Can we support Easy? Because we were supporting all the shout outs. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I heard he's going to make me a mod of his channel when he does start streaming. So I'll let y'all know.
So we got to get some. Okay. Because I definitely wanted to.
Oh, he said he doesn't.
You don't?
Wait a sec.
Too late.
Oh, they found it. Hey.
I'm putting that support now. But yeah,
Followed.
just want to say appreciate everybody in chat for coming in. Whether you listen to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, all that good stuff. Appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you again next Thursday, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.